G'day everybody. Welcome to our first of a series of presentations we'll be doing at Pursuit. This one's titled Kickstart Your Business. I'll just quickly talk about some housekeeping. We do have a chat function where you can raise a question, and I've just sent everybody a note now where you can actually ask your questions. We will be answering those towards the end, or as many of those as we can as time allows. What we're going to do here, Paul, this is live, so Paul and I are using this system for the first time, so bear with us if we get something wrong. But what we'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. So we're going to put things in perspective. Paul's going to spend some time just putting things in perspective, and then we're going to talk to you about your strategy. What is your strategy? And then putting together an action plan. And as I said before, if we get some time, we're going to answer some questions that I'm sure many of you may have. Our presenters today, myself, Mark Dunsmuir, I'm a director here at Pursuit Advisors. I look after the operations and finance of our business. So when we're actually talking about some of the plans here, I'll be wearing that hat when I actually talk about that. Our other presenter is Paul Pratt, who is the director, but also our chief executive of our business. So welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Mark.
So what we'll do, let's get stuck into the presentation. And Paul, you're setting this one off.
Not a problem. Thanks, Mark, and thanks everyone for taking the time to join, and also for sharing some thoughts pre to this around some questions and some topics you would like us to cover off on today. So first things first, I just wanted to take the time to put things into perspective for yourself. So over the last few months, we've obviously experienced times that we've never experienced before, but I'm not going to go into giving us another pep talk about how things have changed or what this means for the wider world. What I want to get you guys focusing on, what does it mean for you? So what does it mean for yourself and your family, your business, your team, your clients and customers, and those other key people around you? So also say your overall industry, and also what's it mean for your competitors as well. So we think back early March, things happened. We've now progressed over 3 months. Our wonderful government, whether you're good, bad or indifferent on that, has contributed about $150 billion to our economy that is trying to kickstart businesses. But what does that mean for you and your business? So we're now in a point of time going, okay, things are starting to change. So we're starting to see things being relaxed. So for us, we've opened our doors for the first time this week in 2 and a bit months in our business. So not seeing clients, but we now have a couple of team members in our office for the first time. So that's different. So that's what it means for us. So what do these restrictions that are changing over the coming weeks mean for you? And what does it look like for you guys going forward? So wanted to really make sure that you've taken the time and put things in perspective for you and the key people around you. Ensuring too, as leaders in your business, that you're leading from the front. So this is where you do need to take the courage pills, make some difficult decisions, maybe upset some people, and look about how you reinvent yourself and your business to not only get through this time, but potentially even thrive. So looking at those critical challenges that you're facing, what opportunities are out there for you guys to explore in your business, and how you set up to do that. So just hoping you get the message there. Let's make sure that we're putting things in perspective for what it means for you and your team and your customers and clients and your family. So that's the theme I want to think, in the filter where I want to think through, Mark, today, about making sure you're worrying about the things you can control. A lot of people are talking about all the things that are happening that they can't control. That's not a proactive mindset that you need to be in. You need to be in a mindset about focusing on the things that you can control. So now I'd like to talk about around strategy. So in your business, do you actually have a strategy? If not, what are you going to do about having and putting in place a plan and a strategy for your business, not only now? So a lot of our focus has been on dealing with things right now. So we've been focusing on the initial disruption and bits and pieces and what it's meant to you, and you've been in a really micro space. We now need to make sure we're shifting that gaze looking forward to longer term and creating time, if you haven't already, to work on your business and what your plan looks like. So for Mark and I in our business, we do have a strategic plan that we review on a weekly basis on where tracking against annual projects. And then we sit down there and look at what changes. So we did get distracted. I'll openly, honestly say that there was probably a month where we didn't even look at that because we were so focused on the micro and the immediate. But then we took stock and go, okay, we've got dedicated times in our calendars to work on our business and on the projects that are longer term. They may need to change and adapt in that, but we got back into the mindset of going, let's not just focus on the now. Let's focus on what we need to do now, looking forward to make our business stronger tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, for our team, for our families, and for our clients. And the way we do that is we use in our business the 10 hats. Some of you guys on this session would have heard Mark, myself, or one of our advisors talk about the 10 hats. So now what I'd like to do is share the 10 hats on the screen. And we're going to talk about some examples that we're seeing, 1 from clients, 2 from what we're reading out there, and 3 what we're doing around these hats in our business and others are doing in their business to help build a stronger business through these things. So Mark, would you like to chat about what you did, given you just shared that you wear the ops hat in our business and the finance hat, some things that you've seen happening in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. And further to reinforce Paul's message about the 10 hats. So those of you can count, there are 11 boxes here, okay? The shareholder's hat is a hat that isn't worn that often when we come to our decision making. These hats we find every business owner wears, but they may not necessarily realise it. So we're big believers in making sure that when you're working on your business, you're actually wearing one hat at a time. And if you can do that and work under that filter, you're going to make a lot clearer decisions. You also heard Paul talk earlier on about projects. So a way we use these 10 hats model is we essentially set projects for each hat. And the person who is wearing that hat, that is the job that they need to do. And those projects are linked to our strategic plan. So when I'm wearing my director hat, as an example, what I'm thinking about is strategy. I'm not thinking about the day-to-day stuff. So those of you who are directors of your business or have been on boards in external businesses, you'll very much be aware that the director's role is all about strategy. You know, what are we trying to achieve here? What's the longer term picture? So make sure, as Paul mentioned with our strategic plan, what we're doing as directors when Paul and I are wearing our director's hat is we're thinking about where does this business need to go and what does it need to do. So we're not thinking about the stuff today, we're not thinking about the stuff tomorrow, but we are thinking about the things that need to happen to get to our strategic plan. So as Paul mentioned, we're going to give a couple of examples around that. So if I use wear my hat as finance leader in this business, the things that I'm doing in my business, and I really suggest that you are looking at, is you really should be doing some financial modelling right now, looking at the numbers. And we're accountants, so we love numbers, but you should also, as business owners, you should love them too. And looking at the numbers and saying, okay, well, what does the next 6 months look like? What does the next year look like? And look at that budget in very much a cash flow terms. So how is my cash flow going? For a lot of businesses right now where you've been in hibernation, you've got to ramp back up again. And so there'll be a lot of costs that are associated with that ramp up. Equally, there's some money coming in that you previously didn't have. You've got the POIG subsidy coming in, which is the ATO stimulus boost. You've got the JobKeeper payments. Those with apprentices have apprenticeship payments. So make sure you're really thinking about your budget and definitely looking at the next 6 months, but extending that out to a year as well. So when I'm wearing my finance hat, I'm really thinking about my business in terms of those numbers. What do I need to do and what do I need to achieve? And I'm communicating that with our chief executive, Paul, to make sure he understands what those numbers are. Paul, are you able to give an example in the marketing hat of what you would be doing?
Yeah. Before I touch on that, Mark, I'd like to share something that I love that you've introduced in our business that I've seen clients doing as well, is bringing up their P&L and ensuring that they've got someone responsible in their business for every single line item in that P&L. So therefore, you're effectively going from A to Z in not only your income lines, but your expense lines, and making sure that someone is responsible for that cost or that investment or that income item, and ensuring that they are aware of what they can do as part of that in their business. Because I think a lot of people will see that they've got some hidden costs in their business that no one's really responsible for. We need to be really trim and lean in this space. So making sure someone's responsible for that is something I love that you do in our business. And I love seeing clients do that as well. Now, back to marketing. So up until about 3 months ago, I was wearing the marketing hat in our business, and I was wearing it, I'd say, okay at best. And we put in power in our team, Stephanie Green, who's taken over as our marketing leader, and she's done a fabulous job with what we've coordinated over the last 3 months, including she's organised a couple of, I suppose, Q&As that we've had with some clients about what they've done. And what I wanted to share in a market, just an example that I saw from a client around marketing, what they did was they didn't stop marketing, but they took stock of what they were marketing. So they revisited what their Google AdWords were, and their things had dropped off by about 80% on their current Google AdWords that they had set up in their marketing. What they did was just change the words they were using around their Google AdWords. And I've heard this now a few times, even in a meeting that I had yesterday with a client, that they're just fine-tuning and marketing for now. So take time, if you do have, say, Google AdWords or a marketing plan, to review what you're currently marketing and make sure it's relevant right now. So if you were trying to push, say, a seminar that was in person, you can't do that in these current times. But you can adapt and potentially go down the path of doing a webinar, just like we are today, to communicate to your clients. So I've seen that example, and it's been really powerful for those clients that have shared those changes with us, Mark, on how that's worked. So I've been quite impressed there. Also, after this, we'll send out a link to an ad that we've come across that we saw that the Gold Coast has done. So the Gold Coast has been heavily hit by this being a large tourism place. And instead of out there marketing about trying to get people to come right now, they haven't been able to do that. So they did a really cool ad that was about families and kids. So we will share that with all participants after this. It goes for a minute. It's well worth the watch and well worth sharing with others. I found it really cool.
And if I can talk about the operations hat, so the operations side of the business is to help the business generate cash. So it's closely linked from the finance, which is to manage the cash. If you look at your business, you've got to really look at how do I shift my resources in order to capitalise. So we've seen, if you use an example in the restaurant and cafe industry, we've seen a massive shift in the way they've deployed their resources from, your standard coffee in the morning for the cafes. All of a sudden the traffic's not there. So what they've had to do is redeploy their workforce. And I know in Warragul here, we're seeing a lot of cafes and restaurants who are now doing meal, takeaway packs, reheat packs, and they really realign their business. And so the person who's in charge in operations in your business really needs to look at how you deliver value to your client base. Retail, we've seen shifting more to internet and delivery, and obviously in that cafe space we're seeing there. So when you're wearing your operations hat, what you really need to be thinking about is how do I make sure I'm delivering to my client base?
Spot on.
Thanks.
Spot on, Mark. And those things are changing daily and weekly. And we'll flip into, once I've chatted about the HR, around like action plans. So our action plans really need to be really nimble. So we'll touch on that shortly. HR is an interesting one. So making sure that you're checking in on your people. Like your team is your greatest asset in your business. So you can't actually grow a business. You can grow the people in your business. And you need to be aware of the circumstances that they may be dealing with. So their partner may have been stood down from their job. Their family member may be quite ill and can't even leave the house because they're concerned about catching coronavirus. So making sure you're taking the time to check in with your team regularly. And just because some businesses have been forced to work remotely, that doesn't mean you can't check in on your team. I think it's even more important that you're doing that because you're not having that face-to-face contact. So don't neglect your team in these times. They're your greatest asset, along with your current client base or customers. So make sure that you're spending the time to focus on your team. Then if we talk about action plan and what we can do in that space there, I'm really fortunate as a business owner that I have a business partner, and a business partner that has a great commercial mind in Mark, and that we spend time working together on our actions on a very regular basis. Some of you guys may not be in that position where you are in business on your own. So what I encourage you to do is make sure that you seek out advice. You're not in this on your own. So marketing wise, there's people out there you can chat to marketing wise. There's people out there you can chat to HR wise. There'd be mentors out there that would be happy to work with you guys. I'm sure you've got friends that are also business owners that you're sharing more stories and bits and pieces. Make sure though you have the courage to reach out and seek help to work through the challenges and the critical things you are working through in your business. As I said, I'm fortunate. I've got a business partner and a great leadership team here. Some of you guys may not have that in your business, but there is other avenues that you can explore. So now let's focus on putting together your action plan. As we touched on, strategic plan, that's all well and good. That's what we're looking to do over the next 1, 3, and 5 years, which is important. But right now, things are moving very quickly. Like 3 months ago, we were business as normal. Like there was murmurings that there may have been a recession coming, but business as normal. Look what's happened over those last 3 months, and envisage what's probably going to change over the next 3 months. You need to make sure that you're setting, and we've got 30, 60, and 90-day goals there. But within that, you need to be setting weekly actions towards achieving those goals and reviewing them on a regular basis. Because goals without actions won't happen. And without perspective on your current situation, on what is going on, and revisiting that perspective on a regular basis, you may be putting time into goals that are now irrelevant. So make sure, or not suited to the current environment. So the really clear message there is to make sure you're putting time aside to plan on a regular basis and review that plan, and take the actions that you need to work on those 30, 60, and 90-day goals in your business towards revisiting what your strategic plan looks like. And things can change. As we know, like we've got some states' borders already open, and the like. Victoria, we're really going to see the first lot of restrictions come off as of 1st of June. What will that mean for you and your business? We don't actually know. And we don't know whether, a second stream comes of coronavirus as well. So you need to have an action plan in place to deal with what happens if that does occur, and what does it mean for your business. So, yeah, real key point there. Make sure you're focusing on what you can control right now and putting time aside to plan on your business and having a detailed action plan around that. And as I touched on before, make sure you're taking care of your team, and you're seeking out as well your customers and clients and understanding what this means for them as well. Like empathy is a really important thing to be showing at all times, but even more so right now. People need help, and we need to band together as communities to get through this. I wanted to touch on that there, Mark, and I have seen a couple of questions pop up. And as you said to me that we probably would go over a couple of minutes, but I reckon we've actually stuck to our timeline pretty good. So I know Steph, who's put a power load of work in putting this together. So thank you, Steph. We finally got to script for once. So I'm glad that I can say that. And that's probably because we put some planning in place, Mark, and put some actions around it.
Crazy. Sometimes it works. So we'll look at the questions. And the first question we've got is a question about where do you put safety in your 10 hats model? So what I'll do is I'll just flick back to that slide. So we've got the screen up here. And let's talk about where we put safety. So importantly, all of these hats have a particular function, okay, which we don't have time today to work through. But one of the major functions, if we look at product development, the role of the product development crew is to improve and innovate. So, Paul, do you want to talk about how safety would interact across the hats, but in particular in the improve and innovate section?
Yeah, so safety, and I'll take it in the context of making sure that we're safe in respect to, let's say that you've got a business where you're dealing with people coming through your front door as such. So I'll use it in that vein there, as well as a team that's out on site as well, interacting with people. So in our business, what we've done is that Mark over the weekend is effectively at every entry put in place things so he's put in hand sanitizer, hand wipes and all those sorts of things. We've got a documented safety plan in place to follow. We've shared that with our team. We've now communicated to our client base that we're now open but under these restrictions, and we're respecting the current state government legislation that's been handed out in that space around there. So that was done by our leadership team, but innovate and improve around product development would have been responsible Stu in our business, and then as our leadership team we put that in place there. So we're making sure we're looking after the safety of not only our team but also our clients as well.
Thank you, Paul. So we've got another question, one which I'll ignore, Stu. I'm not going to talk about how to grow a beard in this session. That is at another session. But Paul, how do you go about creating a marketing plan? Where do you actually start?
Yep. So it's an interesting question. I've had that too, where you see that the marketing hat sits first on the 10 hats there, Mark, as well. But what are you marketing? Is probably the first step to there. So again, if you think back to perspective and go, what is your business right now, and what do your clients want and need from you? So it's first of all, I'd be sitting there going, taking stock, having a think about what do our clients or customers need and want from us right now. Once you've established that, and you could do that by having the courage to ring up some of your customers and have a chat to them, or see the key themes out there, see what your competitors are doing. Then to build a marketing plan, I don't think you build a 12-month marketing plan at the minute, because we don't know what the next 12 months look like. But if you do have even some sort of scattered marketing around social media and bits and pieces, it's about looking at what is relevant right now, not trying to be pushy or salesy and bits and pieces. It's about trying to communicate, educate, and assist with empathy. If you don't have the skills to do that, though, there are people out there in the marketing space that you can consult. So we were fortunate enough to interview Erica McInerney, who's a local marketing expert that a few of you may have come across. She's great at what she does. So there's people out here like Erica that you can touch base, and they'll be able to give you some tips and pointers, or may even be able to help you build a 30-day marketing plan there and give you some tips about how you use social media and the like. The last thing you want to do is stop marketing. Like, seeing marketing as a cost now is going to be detrimental to your business. Marketing is really important out there, but what you market is even more important. You've got to be really specific to the situation.
Thanks, Paul. Now, are there any other further questions that people would like to ask? Otherwise, we will happily wrap up the presentation. So what we'll do is, while there might be a couple of questions, I'll just make mention of our next webinar. So the next webinar will be on Wednesday, the 11th of June at 11:15 the same time. The topic is going to build on Paul's action that he talked about earlier, which is building a 30, 60 and 90-day action plan. So what we'll do is we'll go a little bit deeper into the detail, just to help you understand how you can create that action plan. Look, if you do have, though, we are looking to do more of these, as we mentioned. So if you do have any topics you'd like to learn more about, we're interested to get feedback. So tell us what's working for you. Tell us what you'd like to know more about, because we'll look to bring that into our rotation. And you can put that question through our inquiries at pursuitadvisors.com.au email address. Now, look, guys, we have focused a little bit on the 10 hats today. And if you did want a copy of that diagram, just shoot an email once again to the inquiries address, and we'll make sure we send it through to you. Otherwise, I want to thank you, Paul, for attending and presenting today. There was some great information in there. If you've got any questions, please email or call your advisor. Paul, you've got one final thing?
Yeah, I'd like to just leave with one message, if that's all right, Mark. And this wasn't part of the script, so I've just thought of it while we're on the fly. All of you guys have taken time to step away from the day-to-day hustle bustle of your business. So you've been able to get some perspective, I hope, around those things. What I'd love for you to do right now is to take 30 seconds and put in the chat box what one thing that you're going to do in the next 14 days in your business to take action around things. So if everyone could take 30 seconds and share that there, the other, like, that won't be seen by everyone else. It'll only be seen by Mark and I as the presenters, but I want you to take that time right now to put that in there. And then in 14 days time, we'll check in about how we set the 30, 60, 90 day action plan. And I'm keen to see how you went with that one action that you've said that you're going to take from today's session. So I hope that was okay, Mark. I think it's important that we do take action now, right now.
Yep, no worries. So we'll keep an eye on the chat box, and we'll leave this presentation open for a second for people to put that content in. Otherwise, if you've put your item in the chat box, thank you very much for attending. I believe Steph will be posting this presentation for those who might want to rewatch it again, or pass it on to friends and colleagues. So thank you very much for attending.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mark.